Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So welcome to Dragon Rises College and your first day exploring this journey of acupuncture and oriental medicine. Some of you have a little bit of a history with holistic medicine, and this is just another step in your journey. This is fascinating medicine. You're going to love it, and we're excited to have you here. We have quite a few distance education students this semester. Most people are doing distance ed. We have very few actually sitting in the classroom. So that's going to be kind of different for us because most of the time we would have a class full of people, but we're excited. So I am Dr. Karen Martin Brown. Most of you have talked to me on the phone or met me in person. I also am a graduate of this school. I graduated from this school in 2011 and came to work here very soon after going to school here and graduating. And I started out as the office manager and then became the assistant director. And then 3 years ago, the CEO executive director for the college. So it's been quite a journey for me too. And I'm very dedicated to this school and this medicine. So welcome. I will ask quickly everybody to just tell us your name and whether you're doing in person or distance. So I'll start with Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Wilhelm and I'm doing distance.
Thank you.
I'm Stella James and I'm doing distance too.
Yeah.
I'm Shelby Hewitt, and I will be in person on this campus.
I am Rose from Anu. I'm going to be online too.
Okay.
I'm Victoria, and I'll be online as well.
I'm Andrew, and I'll also be doing long distance.
I'm Sydney, and I'll be in person.
I'm Francis, and I'll be doing distance ed.
Okay. And those of you online, if you would please introduce yourselves as well. Start with Ariana.
I'm Ariana and I'll be doing in person in Bradenton.
Okay, Lindsay.
I am Lindsay, and same as Ariana, I'm in Bradenton, so I'll be doing in person at the Bradenton location.
All right, Sam. Sam, we can't hear you. You are muted. I don't think he heard.
Make sure you got the right microphone selected there in your settings.
We might hear you now, Sam. No. Okay. Well, there's Sam Smiley, everyone. He's right in the middle of the screen. And he's doing distance education. Lena?
Hi, I'm Lena. I'm Bradenton in person.
In person, great. Ella?
I'm Ella, and I'm Bradenton in person as well.
And Nicole?
I'm also Bradenton in person.
Nicole Schreiber. Yes, thank you. All right. So some of you are getting financial aid. Some of you are using VA benefits. If you have any questions about any of that, you should be directing your questions to Jeanette Angus, and you should have been getting emails from Jeanette about it. So VA, I handle VA mostly. So if you are a VA person, you'll get with me on that, okay? Financial aid typically comes out after drop ads, which is the month, 2 weeks from today is drop ad. And so you would get your check, your credit balance, the difference between what you owe the school and what you're getting in loans. You would get that at that week, that second, what would essentially be the beginning of the third week, right? Second week. We're really serious about sexual harassment, bullying, and that kind of thing. It's in your student handbook. You'll read about it. We're really, it just doesn't have a place. It doesn't have a place in society, period. But we are very serious about it here at this school. We don't tolerate it in any way, social media, in person, behind people's backs, any of that. So we do want to make sure you have all read that in your student handbook. There's a form in your package I'd like you all to take out It's called the acknowledgement form. It's a pretty simple form. I can show them what it looks like.
May
Is
I
that
interrupt very quickly?
Yes,
The students on Zoom all have a PDF file that they were sent this morning.
Okay.
That they are able to go in there and either sign or check live as we're going through the paperwork.
okay. I don't know if you all heard that. Christina said you received the package by email and are able to sign it via Adobe. The Adobe program, she sent it to you. So the acknowledgement form says, I have received a copy of the DRCOM policy prohibiting discrimination and harassment. I've been informed of this policy, provides additional guidance that can be found in the handbook. So you'll print your name, sign, and date. Okay, and that'll be one of the documents you turn in when we collect this packet of documents. Okay. Clinic. So let's talk about clinic a little bit. For those students who are here in person and in Bradenton in person, you will perform your clinic duties at the clinic on site. Okay. We do have some externship opportunities for you as well when you're treating patients. For those of you who are purely distance education, you will have another Zoom meeting with all of you. Diane Boydell and I will, and we'll talk about what's involved with you finding a practitioner local to where you live and performing your observation and eventually needling patients at that practitioner's location. Okay, so that's a future meeting. The first thing you're going to have to do with clinic is observation, and that doesn't start till second semester. So Diane will address a little bit more about that when it's her turn to speak. Okay. Scrubs, everybody's getting 2 pair of scrubs. So you would need to have already given Christina your sizes. If you haven't, you want to provide that to Christina, the sizes for your scrubs. You are required when you are in class, even distance ed, we want you to wear your scrubs. That's correct, right, Christina?
Correct.
Scrubs for DE also.
Yes.
Want us to scrubs for Zoom?
For Zoom also, yeah. We decided that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What was the thinking there?
Just to have uniformity throughout, since you are part of the bigger class.
Yeah. For those of you who are in person here in Gainesville, there is parking here. There's a student lounge. The parking that says Dragon Rise is reserved. Please don't park there. That's for staff, teachers, and clinic supervisors. We have very little parking since we share this community with a whole bunch of other businesses here. Okay, but there's plenty of parking out there. We all are expecting a hurricane here in Florida, and we have a program called Emergency Notification System. By the way, that's Daniel. Who has the Guinness Book of World Records for loudest sneeze.
You'll hear it at least once a day.
You'll hear it, yeah, regularly if you're here. You'll meet Daniel, he's our librarian. So the emergency notification system is a system that I actually have to go into, put everyone's email addresses and text message phone numbers. And if we have an emergency where I have to close the school, or we're closed and now we're going to reopen, then I'll send those via text and email. You all will have Dragon Rise's emails. You should have already gotten those, that notification from Travis, our IT guy. And you will need to monitor your regular Dragon Rise's emails because we are using only Dragon Rise's emails to communicate with students. Okay. So definitely pull that up regularly. Some of you have things to turn in to complete your file. You'll give that to Christina sometime before you leave. I have taken photos of most people. I think I'm missing, sorry, Sydney. Okay. I think I've taken them, everybody else. The textbooks are here also for most of you. There's some few on back order, but I have your textbooks also. So after our orientation, I'll take your picture and give you your textbooks. For those of you who are distance education or Bradenton, I will probably use the Bradenton. I will get your pictures next week when I'm there. The distance ed who are online right now with us and not coming in person, we will mail you your textbooks, and we will probably use your passport photos for your student IDs. Okay. I think that's it for me. Does anyone have any questions for me before I hand it over to Dr. Alvarez?
Just really quickly, if I don't have an email set up yet, and I didn't know, is it Travis you said, or?
Travis will do that
That's
for
me.
you.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I don't think you are fully enrolled yet, Lindsay.
Mhm.
Is Lindsay ready to be fully enrolled?
Yes, I just need to send her the enrollment agreement today.
Okay. As soon as you sign the enrollment agreement, Lindsay, then I will put you in the system. And then Travis will be triggered to send you your Dragon Rises email.
Great, that's perfect. Okay, great.
And actually, not to put your business up, but did your last name change? Was it Chapman at one point?
No, we have 2 Lindsays.
Okay. All right, then I got them confused. Yep,
That's
we'll
okay.
get you sorted.
Nope, this is my name. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, so may I introduce Dr. Alvarez? He is our academic dean for here in Gainesville. Most of you in the Bradenton area have already met Dr. Dorian Kramer. He is the academic dean of Bradenton. Okay, so Dr. Alvarez.
Thank you. So again, welcome everybody. I have been the academic dean for like, I guess 2 years and a bit. I started right after the pandemic year that unraveled everybody's life. So before that, I was working at a 2-year college here in town that fell victim of the pandemic and shut down. But I have been teaching a class here at Dragon for over 15 years now. I teach a summer course, 9th semester. I guess it's called Western Environmental Medicine. It's environmental science with quite a bit of epidemiology and everything that comes at you from the environment. Some of those things we cause, some of them come like the hurricane. We don't want it, but they show up. And poisons in the environment, things like that. So I've been part of the Dragon community for a long time, ever since they moved into this building. And I really like the place. It's a great environment to teach and to work. And as the academic dean, my job is to be there for you. And one of the things that I'm supposed to stress when I make this presentation is professionalism, and that is in your handbook. So how do we define being a professional? I like to ask questions instead of telling you. Anybody wants to like take a shot at that? What is a professional attitude or professional stance in a program? Okay, that's typical. People don't want to be the first one talking. So you guys are going to be practitioners at some point in time. By then, you've had to acquire a professional attitude about your profession. How do you put yourself in front of people? How do you dress? How do you treat them? How do you develop a rapport? How do you communicate with them? And how do you help them? But while you're in the program, you also have to be professional as far as how you treat others in the classroom and how do you communicate with your instructor and how do you deal with issues that come up. Definition of a social problem is something that 2 or more people think it's a problem, but also it has to be something that those people want to fix. So if you think it's a problem, but you don't say anything, it's not really a problem because nobody knows. So as far as being professional is, we would like to keep the drama out of the program as much as possible. The gossip, things like that are not productive. We would like people to know their boundaries and know that you have a chain of command, basically, like they have in the armed forces. That we have Christina, who is not only admissions, but she's the student advisor. So she's your go-to person. We all have open door policy. Unless we're in a meeting, we close the door. And so if you have something that's bothering you, something that's an issue, you go to Christina. You can also come to me. If you tell Christina, she's going to share it with me, and we're going to try to solve it. And things can escalate. So, if it's enough of a problem that we cannot solve, we'll go up to the director and inform her, and we're going to get together and put our heads around it and try to see how we can fix it. And what we don't want is something to all of a sudden turn into a written complaint about a college. We never heard about it. We didn't know. And then when we kind of start finding out what happened, 3, 4, 5 people in the classroom tell you, oh yeah, that was going on. We knew about it. Nobody said anything. So don't let things get out of control. Let's just nip them right when they happen. And, I give you one simple example. A student complained that the lights were flickering and she's going to have a seizure because, that can bother somebody right over your reading. And so that's something we can easily fix. We see what needs to be done. We find a way, okay, maybe we can turn the front row off when we're in lecture, turn both off when we're doing a video. It's minor adjustments. Of course, you're not going to be in the classroom. You're going to be mostly online, most of you. So that's going to be between our IT person, Travis, and he's also in charge of the distance education program. And I'll help him myself in person when we need to. We're going to try to find a solution. For example, Sam's microphone issue. We'll get to that. We might talk to you directly and run a test with you until you can get it working. We spent all of last week testing what we could use in the classroom to make this work. So professional behavior, I think everybody kind of understands what that is. Plagiarism, and a lot of these things you're going to hear about in the syllabi for your classes, and you're going to hear from your instructor. But we want to stress that, for example, plagiarism is not using external information or putting somebody's work in your paper. That's perfectly fine as long as you say where you got it from. You have to give credit for where you get the information if it's not something that came out of your own brain. And as long as you do that, you're okay. In fact, many papers require references. Use more than 3 references, 4 professional references. So plagiarism is, copying somebody's work, copying a PowerPoint from online. There are tons of PowerPoint, and then submitting that as your project in a class, and you don't even know how to read that PowerPoint because it's not yours. Don't do that. Most instructors are pretty smart and they can catch you. And you don't want to be in that chair when something like that comes up. We have, like any other place, we have an academic process, and we have posts and markers along the way of what your progress should be. This is not like a typical college where you can choose electives and all of that. We don't have electives. It's a set program. It's very organized, and the schedule's always the same for everybody unless you have transfer credits, and that's the other thing I'm supposed to talk about. We have a process for transfer credits, and we're already processing those transcripts that we got from you and looking in there to see if you have any other courses that we could give you credit for. In that case, when you come to that semester where that course is required, you might choose to sit in there or not, but you already have credit for that course. And there's a process where Christina does the first cut with a transcript, fills out a form, and then I look over that form and the transcript and see if there's anything else, and then we create a form that we sign and you sign, and we give it to you, and you know where your credits are. We're trying to ramp that up so we can do it pretty quickly, because you might have credits for even the first semester you're here. If you have, for example, A&P, you don't want you to have to take a course you've already taken and you can get credits for. So we will go through that and make sure that you get transfer credits. What else? Evals. In this case, evals means the evaluations or surveys we do to gauge how the program is being perceived by the students. So we have a midterm evaluation where you rank the program. You know, I'm very satisfied or I'm dissatisfied, and you also tell us why. That survey is not anonymous, and that survey comes with an interview with the academic dean. I've done them on Zoom with the Bradenton students, but you have an academic dean over there who can do them now. And it's totally like open, nobody's trying to hide anything. It's not anonymous, and we're aware of that, and you're aware of that. I will make the clarification here that we will never throw you under the bus. If you have something you're really concerned about an instructor or a course, you can feel sure that the academic dean that's not going to go right back to the instructor and say, hey, look at what Lindsay said here about you. We're not going to do that. We respect your privacy and we protect you. And we're going to deal with the issue without disclosing where it came from. Just know, you know, we deal with it that way. At the end of the semester, every semester, we do an end of term course, an instructor eval. That takes time because if you have 8 courses, you're going to do 8 of those. And each one of those, 22 questions. The first 12 or so are just check, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, where you evaluate the general course, the syllabus, how the instructor run the class, all of that. And that gives you a chance to give us feedback so we can improve the program. So it's really important that you participate. Because when we compile all that data, especially when we're tracking your progress through the program, we are collecting a lot of meaningful data. And just to tell you how important it is, when a particular school gets in trouble with the accreditors, they want to know, like, what were you doing? How come these got so bad? They show me your evaluations. And if you don't have a good track record of evaluating the courses all the time, they're going to say, okay, we don't know what you're doing. So they're going to run their own. So again, you're going to have to do surveys for them. And they're going to say, yeah, things are really bad and you didn't know. And they might shut down the school. Okay, we're not anywhere in that situation. We've seen it happen to other people. And that's the way you prevent it, by taking the temperature of the program in the middle and at the end of every semester and compiling that data. For example, I have a graduating class right now in December, and I have 2 years of data on them since I came here. And we have maybe a little bit of data before that when we're doing them by hand. So we can track their progress and how they felt about the program all along and the comments that they made, all of that. The end of semester survey is entirely anonymous. All we can tell is which semester made what comment. We can't tell individual students. It's not disclosed in there. You don't have to give your name. You just take the survey. So I think that's everything I have. Yep, transcripts and professionalism, academic excellence. Yeah, we expect that out of everybody. As a rule, in my own personal experience teaching, you don't come to a class and you tell the instructor, like, hey, I just want you to be aware I'm an A student. Doesn't work that way, correct? You have to prove that by not missing classes and completing all the work and really participating and doing well on your tests. Now, if you're feeling you're having a struggle with a class, and that can happen, we want you to get help. Again, Christina's a go-to person, and so am I. We have tutoring from people who can work one-on-one with you. And so we provide that service. You can also set up study groups and maybe ask some of the more advanced students, you know, how do you do this? How do you? It's going to be hard to do a study group if you're online, but it can be done. It can be done. You guys get together. That is one of the things that gets people through law school, medical school. They work as groups and they really like split up the work and then report to each other and try to cover all, look at all those books. That's scary. So ask for help. As soon as you know that you're having an issue, don't wait until like halfway through the course and like, wow, there's no way I'm gonna pass. And also talk to your instructor, find out what kind of support they can give you, how they can help you, because they're all willing to do that. Okay, I'm done. I am gonna pass the microphone to Mr. Travis online. Travis is our distance education program person, and he's also our IT person. And Travis and I go back a while because we worked together at City College. He used to run City College's business program. On top of being an instructor, he was the kind of like the director of that part of the program, looking after students, making sure that we're like getting through the program. So Travis, you're on.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. As mentioned, my name is Travis Dees. First, super excited for you guys to be here and start this journey. Also, really super excited that you're here for the inaugural distance education part of our program. We're gonna get this rolling and see how it works. A little about me. I went to UF, got my degrees from UF. Did the military thing, so I did the Navy for a while, and then met up with Dr. Alvarez at another college. As mentioned, ran a program there and taught for about 9 or 10 years. I came to Dragon Rises a little over a year and a half ago, February of 22. Primarily just doing IT stuff, built the website, the web interface, that kind of thing. That said, I also handle the Google admin side and the Microsoft admin side. So if at any point between now and the end of your journey, you need help with Google being the underlying software that we're using for the @dragonrises.edu program. So if you need help with your passwords, shoot me an email. Of course, I'll give you all the details on how to get in touch in just a little bit. But if you have passwords, if you get married or you get divorced or whatever, and need to change your name or whatever, just shoot me an email. It's a relatively painless process. Usually can be done a day or two. Same thing with Microsoft. We use the Microsoft Office 365, the 365, the online version that's available for you guys. Microsoft Office consisting of Word and Excel and PowerPoint, kind of standard business software at this point. You guys have access to all of that. You've also got, again, because you're using the Google software, you've got Google Docs and Sheets, and I can't remember what their PowerPoint version is, but they have online collaboration tools that make a lot of this a little easier. So if you have any issues with any of that, please just shoot me an email. It's really easy. It's just it@dragonrises.edu. You'll see a lot of this in your syllabus, and you'll have it written down there for you. But just shoot me an email and we can get it worked out, usually fairly quickly. I am not in Gainesville, nor am I in Bradenton, nor am I in Florida. I'm actually in Virginia, in Southern Virginia, right at the North Carolina, Virginia line. So some of the IT issues that we run into, Dr. Alvarez in particular is kind of my hands-on guy. So being obviously 3 or 4 states away, it's kind of hard to unplug and plug back in a USB port. It just doesn't work that way. So lots of times, depending on what the issue is, Dr. Alvarez is able to help me out with that. So that's pretty handy. And again, we'll try to get whatever comes up sorted as quickly as we can. That said, there's a pretty good chance, I wouldn't swear to it, and I'm not building in excuses, but we've got a lot of cogs in this machine that's making distance education work. There's a chance one of them might malfunction over the next 3 years. Either a piece of hardware goes down, a camera goes down, a cable doesn't work. On the off chance that Zoom is down that day, all of our classes are done through this Zoom interface. It's possible. It's not likely, but it's possible. So if that happens, there's lots of different ways to get in touch. The first, and you'll figure out what Populi is as you kind of get into your classes. That's going to be your primary interface. That's going to be where you guys, in particular, the distance education and probably the on-campus folks more than you might think. But Populi is a kind of a home base for your student. It's your student portal. It has all of your academic records and all of your information over here, but it's also where you're going to go to find your classes. Pardon me, your syllabuses, your files, your quizzes, your tests. It's where you upload your papers. It's going to be your central portal for almost everything. Again, not likely, but there's a chance Populi may be down one day. Point being, there's a lot of different, like I say, a lot of different parts that are making this work. And I think we've got it down pretty good. But there's always that question mark. So if that happens, first thing we want to do is just simply shoot me an email. Again, it's it@dragonrises.edu and say, hey, I'm having this issue. What's going on? Not necessarily, you know, I'm sick and I need to get a hall pass or a class pass. That's something you deal with your instructor directly. But if you think there's, you know, Populi's not working, I can't get on, or I can't get on my email, definitely shoot me a message. You'd also check, when you get into Populi, you'll see that you have, for each class that you're registered for, you have a primary, we'll call it a dashboard, and it's got a bulletin board on it. It's just a long string of messages, just like an old school cork board where, you know, somebody walk up, stick a thumbtack in, put a message up there. Your instructor or Dr. Alvarez or myself or whomever will input information there that you might need. So you might want to check that if you can access it, of course. If that still doesn't work, check your email. If that still doesn't work, absolute worst case, pick up the phone and call somebody. You have Dragon Rise's information. If you don't, it's on the web. Definitely want to record that somewhere. You'll get it in all of your syllabuses. Worst case, call somebody. Say, hey, you know, I've tried 5 different things and I'm not getting any response. Someone can help you, or at least point you in the right direction. Questions about that part? Make pretty good sense so far?
Nicole,
All
try
right.
hand raised.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's the cursor.
Your hand.
It's been up there.
Oh, I don't think I raised my hand.
Okay, it's got it on your screen, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
Oh, it's your mouse, Dr. Alvarez. Aha.
Did you have a question, Dr. Alvarez?
No, I didn't have a question.
Oh, that's good.
Nobody has a question apparently.
Okay.
There's a question back
I'm
here.
sorry, I don't have my email information, but I do have 2 emails, so I think you might have sent it to an old one.
I just came up this morning.
Oh, really? I might have just not seen it yet. Yeah, never mind. I'll look later, and if I don't have it, I'll just email it.
Yeah, IT director, yeah. Dragon Rise.
Okay. Christina.
Travis, hold on.
Travis, you're done?
Well, only a couple other things, real quick. Just the idea, we're going to be making advances throughout both this semester and throughout your tenure here, your 3-year program. So we'll be making some tech upgrades over time as it becomes available. Maybe a new camera, maybe a better mic, maybe a this, maybe a that. So just ask for a little bit of understanding, a little bit of patience. Like I say, we've got the framework built. We've got the infrastructure in place to do what we want to do so that you guys can get a full, proper education from Dragon Rises. But as we include and incorporate new technologies, sometimes things happen. So I just ask for a little bit of understanding as we kind of work through this, the first semester in particular. We've got lots of new ideas and lots of new things coming your way. We're going to have an online library, which you guys both distance and, well, not in Bradenton, but you guys in distance will be able to use and access. We'll get to that a little bit more in depth, but yeah. One other thing, just real quick in closing for you guys that are online, if you see on your screen, everyone has a name, Travis Dees, Lenegren. If you didn't know, you can right click on that and change your name. It's just right click and rename. So if you have a different name that you prefer to be called, you can right click, rename, and just put up whatever you'd like to be called. So that's all I had, Christina. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm coming. Oh, boy. I'm gonna move this to the front of the fall.
One other thing, if I might, real quick, just Warren, welcome aboard. Can you tell us, first, obviously, your name is Warren, where will you be going to school? Are you doing distance in Gainesville or in Bradenton?
I'm doing distance right now, but my plan is to be going to Bradenton. Just kind of getting in here, logged in, checking the emails. They came in a little late, Yahoo email still. So I do a lot of stuff on Gmail and the Google platform, so I'm trying to transition all my stuff there because it makes things easier with the Google Drive and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So in the process of doing that right now, but I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm sure everybody else is as well.
Absolutely. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Glad to be
here. All right, Christina.
All right. Good morning. I think, well, I've seen about half of you. I'm Christina, Director of Admissions, also a graduate from the program. So it's good to have everybody here. I'm not real good with all this technology stuff, so, you know, it'll be okay. But I guess
fine.
I'm doing fine. I'm a little nervous, but yeah, we'll just get right into it. Student handbook highlights. You know, I don't know if I sent that out to everybody, Karen. I know I sent it out. I know I sent it out to the distance education students.
Okay.
I'll make sure that you guys get it in your email. I'm pretty sure I sent it out to everybody, but does everybody remember seeing? Yeah, okay. So we'll go over some highlights in the handbook real quick. And again, I'll resend it out just so I make sure everybody has it. So the first thing is attendance, of course. I tried to make sure that everybody knew that, you know, how important attendance is. Dragon Rise's policy is you're allowed to miss up to 20% of each class. That is different for each class. It depends upon the number of credits per that class. So say like Qigong is 2 credits, 20% of 2 credits is going to be different than 20% of your 5 credits of OPP. So you just got to keep that in mind when missing classes.
It's typically 3 classes out of the 15 weeks.
Yeah, for the OPP?
All of them.
Oh, in general? Okay. So but roughly 3 classes for each 15-week schedule for each course that you're enrolled in, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see what else here.
I do have a question about that. What happens like if there's a hurricane and we're distance and I lose power where I'm at? Does that count towards that? And like y'all still have power here, but I don't.
So hurricanes are especially.
I just moved from Texas too, so
Yes.
I don't really know.
And we all
what
know,
happens in a
we all know
hurricane.
one's coming.
Okay.
So hurricanes are always an excused absence for everybody.
Okay.
And doesn't count towards your 20%.
Okay.
Often when we have a hurricane, we have to cancel classes.
Okay.
We don't typically try to do Zoom because too many people lose power.
Okay.
So it's just easier to cancel class and then ask the teacher to incorporate that material over the 15 weeks, just, you know, add it in.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And again, if you're in an area, say you're down South Florida and we're, you know, central northern Florida, just keep us apprised of what's going on. Of course, we keep in touch with everything that's going on too, but just let us know. Communication is the key for anything going on. Communication. Like Dr. Martin Brown said, we have an open door policy, or it might have been Dr. Alvarez that said that we definitely have an open door policy with anything, everything. Just shoot us an email. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let's see, books, supplies, and equipment. Towards the end of the semester for the next semester, you'll be given a book list. Is that still how it's working? Yes. You'll be provided a book list of the books that will be included for the next semester. There are required books and then there are recommended books. So the recommended books would be on you if you chose to purchase any of the recommended reading materials, whatever it may be. Let's see. Once you get into clinic, prior to going into clinic, you have an ATT class, an applied and acupuncture techniques and theory course that you get an ATT kit for, and it contains different size needles and moxa and cups and different items That's to use for that class, but that's also enough material to get you through your first semester in clinic, which is semester 6. After that, it is your responsibility to provide your own materials for clinic. So the needles, any special moxa that you want. There's different styles, different types of needles. So some people might like one type over the other. Of course, like any of the big items like the fire cups and stuff, don't bring those to school. We have some here. There's no way to keep them separated and all of that stuff. But the smaller items like the moxa, if any special salve, needles, things like that, that will be on you, your responsibility, not part of your tuition. So let's see, stop me anytime.
It's a complete acupuncture kit though.
Yeah.
So it's a complete starter kit for acupuncture. And you get everything in there that you'll need for that 3-semester class. And then you'll keep it, most of it, for when you actually start treating patients.
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes with an ear locator, I believe, and some other things as
Mhm.
well. So it's a full kit. It's not just a few things, it's a full kit. A laptop or a tablet with email access is required. Bring it with you for all classes because there will be a lot of things on Populi for you to follow along with and stuff like that. So in your Western medical course, which is I think 3rd or 4th semester, you will be required to purchase like a stethoscope, a blood pressure cuff for those who don't have one, just for practice and to go through that course with it. But then you can also use it in clinic. So, oh, I thought I saw a hand coming up. Just making sure. When in class, of course, silence the cell phones because it's a distraction. You know, we're all paying the same tuition to come and enjoy and learn, and just be mindful of your neighbors. Just be mindful of the neighbors. Laptop use, definitely keep it to relevant use in the classroom. I know when I was a student here, I would always sat in the back row just because that's where I liked sitting. And I had a student that was always in front of me with a laptop, Facebook, Instagram, taking pictures. It was very, very, very distracting. No matter how many times I mentioned to her, she still continued to do it every week. And it is very distracting to see. So again, just be mindful. Mindful, mindful, mindful. Let's see. Let me know if I'm going too fast, guys. Okay. Withdrawal. Let's see, I'll just read this. If a student drops a course after the end of the drop add period, which is 2 weeks, we got a chair for you over here, Lindsay, if you want to just, yep. This is Lindsay Chapman coming in.
Okay. Okay.
So Dr. Alvarez is moving.
There's one there.
Hi. There's a seat here and there's 2 on the end.
No, there's no more chairs over here. All right. So the withdrawal period, if a student drops the course after the end of that drop add period, which is the 2 weeks after 2 weeks into the semester, you must fill out an official withdrawal form. No money will be refunded and a grade of W will be given. If a student drops the class but does not officially withdraw, a grade of F is giving. So make sure if you decide to not return that you withdraw officially. So let's see. In your student handbook on page 5, make sure to go over the grading system. Something for you guys to look at. Makeup policy for exams and projects. You know, we've got that 20% that you're allowed to miss of each class. If you do, for whatever reason, miss an exam or a quiz, it is actually up to each individual professor to allow a makeup. And then at that makeup, there is a charge for that makeup exam. So really try not to miss a exam or a quiz. Of course, there are extenuating circumstances. So again, communication is the key. Is there anything to add to that? No? Okay.
You can tell them the fee if you want.
So it is $35 for an exam and $50 for a quiz.
No.
No, I said that backwards. $35 for an exam or quizzes and $50 for a midterm or a final. So, and that's because we have to pay the professor to write a whole new exam. So you're basically paying the professor for their time, for some of their time, to rewrite a new exam for you. So federal copyright infringement, that was already gone over very well by Dr. Alvarez. Thank you. Let's see where else we're at here. Student Academic Bill of Rights and Responsibilities on page 10. So I'll just highlight a few of these real quick. It is the student's responsibility to come to class having all needed materials and assignments completed for the class period. To consult myself or Dr. Alvarez whenever a concern arises. If you have any questions or concerns, again, open door policy, communication. Complete exams when and assignments on time, and the responsibility to be attentive in class, to participate and be on time. Let's see,
Christina, can you mention for the distance education students, your face, as is right now, your face is required to be on screen. We don't want to see the ceiling fan or, anything else. We want to see your face on screen, and we want to make sure you're being attentive, because it's easy in distance ed to be distracted. And this program is not simple. You really need to pay attention. You need to be able to raise your hand on Zoom and ask a question if you have one with the teacher right at that moment. So yeah, we request everybody keep their face on the screen.
Did everybody hear Dr. Martin Brown with that? Yes, okay. Number 13, it is the student's responsibility, as Dr. Martin Brown stated, to check Populi and your email addresses on a regular basis, because that's how we're all going to be communicating with each other. Seek tutoring or academic assistance when needed. And again, just show up on time and don't make it a habit of being tardy or absent. We do have a student government for the on-campus portion. We are meeting, I have that date written somewhere. The third week of class, we meet on the third, it's usually the second Tuesday of the month, which turns into the third week for this first semester. We meet during lunch, so anybody who wants to come join in, come join in.
Bradenton will have it as well.
Yeah.
What does that do?
So it allows you to have a voice for the students, for your class, for the other classes. You just represent the students. You sit in the meetings and we discuss different activities that may be going on. Or if the student body have a concern or something, you can address it in that meeting, and then we can all discuss it. We also, there's a budget that goes over to provide like events for the students and things like that.
When did you say it was happening?
It is the second Tuesday of each month, but it turns out to be the third week of school because of when we're starting. So this semester, and it's always during the lunch hour.
Only for on-campus students?
If you're local, you're welcome to come.
Yeah.
For Bradenton and Gainesville.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. The more we have, the better. It's just a better voice, better concern, a better camaraderie between everybody. So definitely. And there will be on student government, they are providing a lunch for the new students. I believe it's Thursday this week. But I will double check that, but I believe it's Thursday as a welcome for the student government to mingle with everybody. They're not able to be here today to discuss it, but I will get clarification and I'll send out an email.
Can distance students go to either campus? Because I'm closer to Bradenton.
For which portion?
For student government, yes. Okay. For clinicals, like practical, you'll have to come here.
Yeah.
For the once a month.
Let's see. Make sure to look on page 14 about the library procedures and resources there. This may have been brought up already. No, absolutely. We are a zero tolerance policy. Alcohol, drugs, smoking, anything like that cannot be done on campus. Of course, it would not look good to do it off campus here as either. But definitely not on campus. Don't come to class, after binging all morning and stuff like that. So Let's see what else.
Is dress code in there?
I don't know if dress code is in
'Cause
here or
you can
not.
bring up what we just discussed.
Okay. I'll bring it up in just a moment. Well, I'll bring it up now since you just brought it up. Karen and myself were actually just messaging over here after the discussion about the distance education students wearing the uniforms on campus, on camera. That does not need to be done. You definitely need to wear them for any observation hours that you do, anytime you're in clinic, anytime you're at an event that is school related, you need to wear the uniform. Make sure your dress that you are wearing on camera is appropriate. So no lounge, gym clothes, no, little sports for all things. It does need to be appropriate. That was one of the reasons that we went to the scrubs to begin with, is to make sure that everybody was appropriate at all times. So, yeah, so. Okay. COVID-19 policy, I believe Dr. Alvarez spoke on this as well. No?
I didn't talk about it.
Okay. Where we continuously update the COVID-19 policy, whatever Alachua County for the in-person, or Bradenton, I don't know what county that is. Manatee County, implement as far as masks, we do follow those guidelines.
Follow who, sorry?
The county guidelines for the campuses.
Okay.
So Manatee County or Alachua County for the in-person.
So the county government, because you have Florida.
The county guidelines is what we choose to follow as far as the mask implementations.
And hopefully we will never see that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where we have to all wear masks in public places. But if it ever comes to that, then we follow that policy.
So if the county is saying like all public buildings have to have that rule.
Correct.
Then that would be okay.
And they kept Alachua County, I'm not sure about Manatee because we weren't a campus there at that time, but I know Alachua County kept the mask mandate and policy for a long time for medical facilities. And since we do have a clinic, we had to continue in the clinic, although we didn't have to continue in the classroom.
Okay.
So there may come a time, hopefully not, but just know that either campus, we do follow what they implement for the masking. As far as any injections, anything like that, you will not ever be mandated to have to do any of that as far as part of our program. Now, that being said, any externship sites that we have agreements with for you to go perform externships there, whether it's observation or actually treating patients in their clinic, you have to follow their guidelines. So if just say the local hospital, if we had an agreement with the local hospital and one of the agreements was for you to be fully COVID-19 vaccinated, in order for you to perform the externship there, you would have to provide proof of that.
But we could always switch the extern site.
You can. Yeah.
You can choose a different one
Yeah.
if you wish. Yeah.
But I just wanted to put that out there so everybody was aware. We will not require it, but some externships may require it. And if you want to be part of the externship, you have to follow their agreements, of course. So several of you are distance education. We'll be reaching out to new places. So new territory for all of us. So just know whatever they decide for their implementation, we have to have you guys follow it. So.
I have one more question about that.
Mm-hmm.
I know some places you could get your temperature taken instead of having to wear a mask. Is that an option as well?
We follow whatever the guidelines are. So we did for a while do temperature checks here.
Okay.
Then that went away too, so it depends on the externship side and what they require.
But I believe we were still requiring the masks, but we had to require the temperature checks every time you walked in, just to make sure that you were not actively running a temperature, because that is what the county was doing at the time.
All of
So,
that's over.
yeah.
And
I know they're
hopefully,
talking about it
knock on
coming
wood,
back, so that's why I wanna.
it stays over and we don't have that.
My husband is a nurse at a hospital and it is definitely ramping up at the hospitals. So hopefully it doesn't get back to the mandated mask wearing, but just in case. And we're always updating, we're always updating the COVID-19 recommendations as far as testing and whatever OSHA puts out there is how we're following and how we're accepting CDC and how we're accepting the like if you're positive, then you get an excused absence, things like that. Yeah.
So
So
it's all updated on Populi.
yeah.
So once again, Populi has a dashboard when you pull it up, and the COVID-19 guidelines are on there. And every time Dr. Alvarez updates it, he puts updated in the date he did that. So you'll see, it'll pop up to the top and you'll see that.
Mostly what I would do is if you do happen to get sick and you get tested and you're positive, there are guidelines from the CDC that say they keep changing them, but basically 5 days without fever and you're improving, you can come back. So it basically to say, when can you come back to school?
And it only affects obviously in-person classes.
But it's a great way for us to have, it's black and white for us. That way that it can't come, there's a standard for us to go by is by defaulting to the CDC. So, or to the, the county that we live in. So, or that we practice out of, I guess I should say it that way. All right, any questions on any of that stuff? No, good. I don't see any hands raised, good deal. Let's see what's next. I think I got the longest portion of this. For the in-person students, at least in Gainesville, I'm not sure if Bradenton as well have mailboxes, student mailboxes. So Bradenton does not have student mailboxes yet, but for the Gainesville students here, we have mailboxes in the student lounge that any important materials from like admissions or receipts, things like that can be put into those mailboxes for you.
Most of it's done digitally now.
Yeah, most of it's done digitally now. But just in case, or a professor may print something out for you and put it in there, things like that. But let's see. I already talked about the SGA stuff. I will touch on tutoring real quick because Dr. Alvarez mentioned tutoring for the in-person students, we do offer tutoring weekly. I'm looking to get a set schedule from the main tutor. So I would like to talk to the in-person ones before you leave today, just to see about a set schedule. And I'm not sure how that's going to work with the distance education students. That's not something we've discussed yet, but I can discuss it with Dr. Martin Brown and definitely send out an email about that. Because usually the tutoring is done on campus usually. So
But we can do Zoom as well.
Okay, so yeah, we'll definitely discuss that and I will send out a clarification email about tutoring available.
And it has a fee?
There is no fee for the student. Dr. Martin Brown graciously covers up to 3 hours per week per student. So 3 hours per week per student.
We pay the tutors.
Yeah.
Because we want you to keep up.
Right.
Is that just for the Gainesville location or is that also for Bradenton as well? Or is it going to be separate?
Bradenton as well.
Oh, okay.
We'll have tutors for Bradenton as well.
Yes. Okay, so now we're to the fun part of all of the forms. I have my list here somewhere. So we are going to, does anybody have any questions about anything? No, everybody's good still? Okay. So everybody's got this stack of forms in front of them. Does everybody have a pen?
One whenever you can.
Sorry. Christina, will you be emailing those?
They have them. I sent the email this morning via Adobe. That way they could fill it out live and it can be submitted back to me. So let me know, you guys on Zoom, if there's any problems filling out that paperwork. Okay. I've received a completed one already. So I think they're good to go, but.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like a copy of those, Travis?
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay. I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Can I add one or two things before you jump into your long?
Absolutely.
Going back just a few different topics. When we talked about textbooks specifically for distance education, there is a handful of them that are available as ebooks, so digital. If you would prefer those, again, it's kind of limited. It's probably only 20 or so %. Not everything, but if you prefer to have them in digital format when you get your textbook list towards the end of each semester, just keep an eye out on that and you just make a mark on that. It's usually less expensive than a hardback, a bound copy, but not always. And the majority of the titles, given the topic that we're in, is rather niche. There's not that many School's doing what we're doing, so it's not, the publishers don't produce a whole lot of ebooks, is what I was getting at. So if you prefer to use those, just keep that in mind when your book list comes around. The other thing I was going to touch on the plagiarism part. The same way that Wikipedia is not generally considered a valid resource for research, ChatGPT is also not considered a valid research tool. That said, both of those options, if you decide to use them, have sources listed. So you could use them as a jumping off point. For example, you look up you look up diabetes on Wikipedia, you can't really quote that as a source, but if you go down to the bottom, there are sources that you can use to jump off and continue your research. That's a little bit more valid than Wikipedia. So that's all I had.
All right. I'll jump back in on the textbook thing really, really quick. Ebooks are great. I would suggest, as a former student, do not get an ebook in a main textbook that you need. Don't get an ebook in your acupuncture manual. Don't get an ebook in your herbal materia medica, those types of courses. Even if it's easier, I would not recommend it because you're going to want that for quick reference now and in clinic and stuff like that. So some of the other things that may not be so important, an ebook would be okay. Go ahead, Karen.
And I wanted to add that on the textbook list, I removed the ebooks on the books that I felt as though, from my own experience, you're going to want in your own practice. Like these two books, these Foundation and the orange book, the Manual of Acupuncture. Those are books that you could get as ebooks, but you don't want that. You want to have a book in your office when you open your practice that you can actually look at, and not try to figure out if your internet connection is good or not, or is it been updating or that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. So we have this page. I'm going to skip this page though and let everybody fill it out as
Put it closer to
the time. Just because I don't need to sit here while you guys fill this out and everybody wait to put in your personal information. This page right here is, if you could just make sure to check it for your race and ethnicity and other like things. This is a requirement that we need for
government reporting.
Government reporting.
Put it closer to the camera for that group.
Does it have a title?
It is called, no, there's no title.
Nice.
For statistical purpose only.
And you don't put your name on it. You just fill it out. We have to keep track.
And go ahead, Ariana, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you know the name of this attachment? Because I have the email that you sent for the Zoom orientation and like 5 attachments, but I can't find these forms to fill out.
It would have came in a separate email from Adobe. It was sent out this morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have that.
Okay.
Check your spam folder, Ariana.
Okay.
If not, I'll make sure to send it to you after the orientation is done.
Yeah, because I don't have it in spam either. Okay, so I'll just talk to you after.
Did everybody else receive it? All my distance people? Good, good. Ella, you did not receive yours?
Yeah,
I received mine, but some of the fields are large, so you cannot see what you guys are asking for. If you could just send the original in an email, that would be amazing.
Okay. So raise your hand if who needs another copy or it resent.
I think Sam had a question.
Sorry, I actually found it.
Okay.
It was in my promotional folder.
Oh, that's weird. So anybody besides Ella and Lena that needs it resent via Zoom there?
I think Sam had a question, but we can't hear him. Oh, we
Okay,
can't hear him.
you guys hear me this
Can't
time?
hear you.
Okay, great. Well, since I'm in New Hampshire and not moving to Florida, I don't need to sign the Florida voter one. So I just put like dashes for everything. I hope that's okay. I couldn't figure out how to sign it without having, or how to send it back to you guys without having signed any
Yeah,
of it.
that's fine.
But I don't want to be a Florida voter. I don't live in Florida.
That's fine. Absolutely. Any other questions? No? Okay,
Why did we get voter registration?
it's a requirement.
We're required, because our school is eligible to give student loans.
Oh.
The US government requires that we let everyone know that if you're not registered, here's your opportunity to register.
Okay.
It's just a Title IV requirement.
If we're already registered to vote, do we have to fill that out?
No, it's just an optional,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I believe there's a spot on there that said already registered and you just click that, but I could be not correct on that.
We're just required to provide it to everyone.
Yeah.
We don't have to monitor whether you turn it in or not.
Yeah, so if you have to, in order to submit the packet, if you just need to go put lines through everything, Ariana, that's fine too. I just couldn't figure out a way to upload that and had not have that set up that way in order to not fill it out, if that makes sense. Because you either had to fill it out or not fill it out.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So those attachments that were in the main email for the Zoom email contain the catalog and the student handbook. So you guys have this form here, which just acknowledges that you received those items. And it is catalog, student handbook, and privacy acknowledgement. So again, it is your responsibility to make sure you are familiar with the items that are in the catalog and the student handbook. So let's see what's next. I think Dr. Martin Brown already showed you guys this, but it's that you've received a copy of the policy prohibiting discrimination and harassment acknowledgement that you need to make sure that you sign. And then if you do not, this is called waiver for use of identifiable records and promotional materials. If you decide that you do not want to be posted on social media or any pictures taken, then you need to fill this out and send it back. If you don't mind being, then just line through it if you have to, and then we'll still take pictures and post you. So
Well, give them an example of when they start clinic, the stuff they
yeah,
do.
so it's really good if you do allow your pictures, because we do take pictures. I post on social media every day, several ads every social media is coming out every day. I don't know how you say that. But when you're getting closer to clinic, I actually ask for a biography from you, and I take a picture of you, especially in your uniform and your lab coat that we have when you're going into clinic, and I post it on social media, and that's free advertising for you to get patients. So even the distance education students like that, I can do the same thing. When you're ready to go into clinic, we can have the picture, I can upload it, put the name, the contact information of where you're going to be at. It's just free advertising. It's free advertising for the school. It's free advertising for you guys in order to get patients for the clinic, because you have to have a minimum of 350 treatments in clinic for graduation. Minimum. So yeah. So just it's just good all the way around for everybody. And it's not just advertising for this, it's any fun stuff that you're doing as a class, or outside of class. We have a couple of times each semester that the SGA puts on like a bowling night, or they meet up at like a local restaurant here to play trivia, things like that. So it's just nice to be able to upload things like that, the camaraderie, the student camaraderie. Sometimes some professors can go hang out or things like that, supervisors. But it's just nice. It's just nice to be able to provide it all so people can see. Yeah. So I think that's about it, besides the voter registration that we've already discussed. So let's see what else is on my list to do. I think that's about it. I do believe that is it. I believe you guys are done with me. Any questions about anything? No? And again, at any time, feel free to send me an email. You can call me. I'm not always available right away on a phone call, as you guys have noticed, but I do try to email back as soon as I can and respond back. I wear many coats around here, and I'm just like this morning, I had an event before orientation. I have an event at a college this evening. So always busy, but send me an email, admissions@dragonrises.edu. You can give me a call. But we're all here for all of you. So I'm going to let our clinic director, our Gainesville clinic director, Diane Boydell, come up and talk to you guys now.
Morning. I apologize, I'm a little nasal. I'm not contagious. I don't have COVID, but I have been fighting or fought really last week. A lovely head cold, so I have the residuals of that. Don't make me laugh, all right? So I'm glad that they touched base on the books because, you know, check mark for me. I was going to mention that to you. You will want to have those books handy for sure. So that will be your lifeline to your practice in many, many ways. So keep them close and dear to you, protect them. I still use them today. So my job is to keep you safe and to help you launch your practice. So my job is to make sure you don't burn your arm off in doing MOXA in the clinic, that you understand the contraindications of herbology and, you know, when you're going to prescribe an herb and how that can interact with Western meds, right? And that you understand the risk involved in needling. And that you also understand HIPAA compliance, privacy requirements, right? And all of that aside, that you have a good time and build your business, right? And that's why you're here. That's the time that you get to put everything that you have learned into practice. You have a lot of supervisors to work with you. Now, for those of you who are distance education, that may not be the case. Those of you who are local, we have supervisors. You have a variety of people to learn from and to gain that knowledge and to also develop your own practice and what feels right for you, right? So it's an exciting time, and it again will start in your second semester, and that's where you will start doing observation. And you'll have four semesters of observation. You'll have a couple of semesters of what we call supervision. And that's where you are observed in your needling process and get to apply your knowledge a little bit with a little more guidance. And then you get to become the intern, right? And so you have that direction, you have the resource, but that's really the point that you get to really practice what you have learned, right? Let's see here. Kind of covered that. How many of you come from a healthcare background? Healthcare, a couple of you. So you've got some clinical experience then, huh? Okay. So how many of you have ever been self-employed? Okay, good, good. So you know what it takes to build a business. And really, you're starting to build your business today. How many of you have already received phone calls from people who want your advice because you're going into holistic healthcare, right? And they want to know what you think and, you know, what your ideas are. Anybody getting those phone calls yet? Okay, they're coming, right? That's your time. You're building a reputation right here today. This is the first day that you're actually building your business. So I say that to you because I had a wise professor once that said to me, I come from a business background. And I was really kind of burnt out on the whole, you know, business, Western development. And I thought, I'm going to go into acupuncture where I can just do, you know, herbal medicine and, you know, do it my way and all this kind of stuff. And this professor said to me, Diane, can you admit that at some point you're going to have to come out of a lotus pose and build your business? And I'm like, oh, right. But it's the truth. So you are starting to build your business today, whether that is how you are going to rep yourself with business cards, developing your reputation. If you're going to start developing a clientele following, sending out, you know, a Facebook post about what you learned today, whatever that is for you, keep that on the forefront of your vision, because there's going to come a time when you're going to go, oh, right, I got to come out of that lotus pose and, you know, do a presentation, right? So if I had to give you any advice about business development, I would say start networking today, right? Hit some community events. You get this lovely jacket, right? And it will open up some doors for you, especially in distance education. You'll want to take advantage of wearing the jacket and really playing the part. Professionalism, you know, you've got people who come into the clinic because you are their resource. If you're one of those people that come in and you are chasing your tail, and your patient hits that door before you do, you're no longer really their resource that much. They're thinking, wow, do they have it together, right? So as that resource, you've got to play the role, right? Practitioner, acupuncturist, physician, whatever. You've got to play that role. So if I can't stress that enough for you, if that means your scrubs are ironed every day, that's what that means, right? But you are on, and that's the most important thing. Any questions about clinic? And specifically, by the time you graduate, you'll have 870 hours, and you will have seen, as Christina said, 350 patients, and you'll be developing your own clientele. We'll have some opportunities for you to do that within the school framework. But, you know, a lot of that's really going to come at your own sphere of influence, right? And that's where you're going to, you know, call upon that. And as I said, your phone will start ringing automatically anyway. If you play your cards right and really play the role, it'll just come to you. Any questions?
I know it's kind of practical, but how are those 870 hours divided up? What are the requirements per semester? How many hours?
Well, Dr. Martin Brown, she usually sits down and she breaks those down into manageable hours. The key is that you really participate and hit that quota. We don't want you to fall behind. That's really hard to catch up on. But for instance, you may have, you know, where you've got 15 hours in observation your first semester, and then the next semester you would have 30, 45. So it is progressive over time, to the point that when you're in internship, you may be at 90 hours in a semester. Any more than that we have, yeah, 180 maybe.
Yes, so as you go through the program, you have a lot of your classroom time, your didactic time in the very beginning of the program. And then later, as you start treating patients, you have less classroom time and more clinic time. So it grows. So as Diane was mentioning, the first time you're going to observe patients is second semester here. You're only going to need to do 15 hours the whole semester, right? The third semester you're here, you're going to have your next
that's 30
observation is 35. And then 2 more semesters after that is 50 and 50. So, and those observation hours, you get to schedule them on your schedule when you want to, when you can fit it in your schedule, okay? When it's time to start treating patients, we'll have clinic shifts for those students who go through either the Bradenton campus clinic or the Gainesville campus clinic. We'll have clinic shifts, and you'll be given an option of choosing your shifts. So the first time you start treating patients, you'll have 2 4-hour shifts for the whole each week. And then that just grows as the program continues, where you end up having eventually 4 4-hour shifts a week, and you only have classes 1 day a week.
I just wanted to jump in on that. So semester 6, when you start treating patients, she said 2 4-hour shifts a week. That equates to 90 hours for that semester, or 45 treatments.
Right.
And then it goes up from there. I believe semester 7 is 110. And then I don't know what the rest, and then semester 10 is 220 total. 220 or 220 hours or 110 treatments in semester 10 with only 1 day of class. So it just each semester intensifies like that. I believe Lindsay had a question first.
Yeah, I just was wondering if, with the observational hours, are we just given the place then, and then we would contact them and kind of set up when we're able to go observe, or are we finding the place on our own?
If you're live student in person, then you'll observe in our clinic here or in Bradenton, and you will do some of your hours at an externship location. We give you a list.
Yeah, I got you.
So if you are not in near Gainesville or Bradenton and you're a distance education student, we will work with you to find a practitioner near where you live that will allow you to do observation for those 4 semesters and then treat patients for 5 semesters at their office.
Yeah, gotcha.
And just for the ease of it all, because we're not familiar with those areas that you guys are in, so you guys do the initial reaching out to find these different practitioners that are in the area, and then you can connect them with us, and then we follow up on our end to make sure that they understand what's going on and whatever contract
Put them
we
under
need
contract.
to make with them and things like that. So
We will try to find a practitioner who's a Dragon Rises graduate, if possible, near where you
And
live.
mine would be here. So it would be, you know,
Right.
year round. I was just curious how that works.
But yeah, so for those distance ed students, we would look for, we have a list of all our graduates and where they are located. And if there is one near you, we would want you to go see them and work with them as opposed to someone not graduating from Dragon Rises. Because as you know, we have a specialized pulse and diagnostic system that you're gonna learn here that is not available at other schools. So we want you to work with one of our graduates whenever possible.
Except maybe in New Hampshire. I don't know if we have any in New Hampshire.
Any other
Or
questions?
Chicago.
Yeah, right there.
So it's 3 semesters a year for 3 years, so 9 semesters total?
10.
10, okay. So I was trying to like-
3 years plus 1 semester.
It's
Okay,
3
so
full years and then this fall semester of this year.
So semester 6 is year 2, the end of the second year?
It is,
Beginning of the, okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
No.
it's not this next coming up summer, it's the following summer is when you would start treating patients in clinic.
2025?
Five.
Summer 2025 is when you start needing patients.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll turn it over to, I think, Daniel, our librarian. All right, it's all you. Look forward to seeing you in clinic.
I did have a question.
Go ahead, Warren.
Just so you said, so it's basically 10 semesters, and what would our graduating class be? Class of 26, 27?
12 December of 2026 is when you graduate. Yes.
Oh,
Hey, Daniel, get in front of the.
You gotta get back here, Daniel. 'cause
Oh,
you're
so
gonna
they
be
can
on the
see me
camera.
like this way. I see, okay.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Daniel. And well, so how I came to be a acupuncture librarian, I have no medical experience whatsoever or background. But I went to the clinic and really I became a big believer in acupuncture. The treatments do work. And I've got an opportunity to become a librarian here. And so here I am. So we have and everybody can, am I looking at that mic?
In the camera.
Yeah, all right. I'm still, when I was in a library school, we used to still work with dialogue. I'm more of a pencil and paper guy. But our library is pretty good and it has grown over the years. We have over 2,000 books, about 90 journals, and we still have some AV material, although that is being, that moves online. In Populi, we have 147 links, and and we are in the process of transcribing Dr. Hammer's lectures, and that's on Populi as well. We have some magazine subscriptions. We have a Journal of Chinese Medicine, which has to be, in order for that link to work, it has to be used on campus. We have Chi Journal, New England Journal of Medicine, and Acupuncture Today. And we also have some databases. We have the Classical Chinese Medicine database, the Journal of Chinese Medicine. We have Learn Gale database, and we have New England Journal of Medicine database, and TCM study by Mr. Duchnovsky. And he talks about herb salads, so that's a great resource. The library, and I was told you're going to see it virtually. The library has 2 study stations, and from the COVID times, they are 6 feet apart. And we also have reference and reserve books. Now here I have to explain a little bit about the circulation policy, because it just always happens that some books just cannot be checked out, and that's the reserves and reference, unless there's some excruciating situation, or maybe in-house they can be checked out. But I tried having the circulation time for 4 weeks, and that just didn't work quite well. And I went online and I found out most colleges do check out books for 2 weeks. So you're going to say, oh no, that's just not enough time to read. But it really is, you know, the way the circulation works. And it's, you can usually, I cannot promise you, but usually you can recheck out the book when you bring it in those 2 weeks. So then you have another 2 weeks. So then you have those 4 weeks anyway. It's just I cannot promise it right away. So what else do I, what else do I do? I can help, I can try, well, sometimes I find articles and sometimes I don't find them, which is sad, but true. But I find articles, I can help with your research paper. I've always been a believer in more information is better, because then you can just go through it and pick what you want and discard what you cannot use. And that goes hand in hand with answering reference questions if you have a question. And when I have a question, or when I give you those articles, I've tried using the email, send it by email and attach documents. And sometimes, I don't know, my Gmail or my computer just, it doesn't want to do it. So I have these flash drives, and I don't even sign those out. I just will give you a flash drive. You look at it, you look at the information, put it on your computer, and then you just return the flash drive when you're done with it. And another way I've discovered lately, just simply I would make a document with the name of the article and then the link, and that works fine too. So, you know, there are several ways I can deliver that material to you. Now, I know we have long distance education students and also another branch, but it probably is going to be true no matter where you are. You're going to have a public library nearby. Public library can be an incredible resource. And if there is one resource you want to use, it's called the in-library loan, ILL for short. And these guys can then maybe lend you some of those books, which I say, oh no, you cannot check those out. They will go out into different libraries nationwide, and they will see if somebody has it. So here in Gainesville, Florida, I'm almost done talking. Here in Gainesville, Florida, the library hours are Tuesday and Wednesday 9 to 5 and Thursday 9 to 4. And the schedule says lunch, but I'm awfully informal with lunch. Sometimes I, always check by. If you need something, just check by anyway. And if I'm not there, then I'm not there, but usually I am. And, I'm very informal with the lunch. Now, I would like to encourage students to use the library. We really have neat books, and it's really a nice place. You're gonna see it. It's a nice place. And in order to help you to use the library, you've already probably visited the clinic, right? And you know about the cupping therapy. So believe it or not, library also has a cupping therapy, but you're gonna have to come to the library to find out what it is.
Daniel, if I may, can I ask Travis to explain our new card catalog and the online virtual
Oh gosh, yes,
library?
Yes.
Travis?
Okay, did you want to do that now, or maybe when you
No.
got your walking tour?
No, go ahead and.
Okay, we can do it now, sure thing. Right, so what we have begun implementing, and it's not 100% complete, but it's really, really close, is taking, obviously considering DE, distance education, it's clearly impractical to come from wherever you are to the library in most cases. So we've started moving all of this online. What we've found in the past is a lot of times students were reluctant to track down Daniel, or maybe it was after hours, or maybe it was for whatever reason, it was just inconvenience, or they couldn't schedule it, and they would not use the resources that are available to them. They just didn't use them. So we developed a way to create this online database and create a accessible tool. It's always on. It doesn't have any off hours. It's whenever you're doing your homework at 3 o'clock Sunday morning. Can't actually get into the books then, but you can reserve them and check them out, things like that. I'll give you a quick demo here while we're waiting, if you don't mind. So let's see. Figure out how to do a, well, I closed it, so we can't share screen from a closed one. Good one there, tech guy. All right. So if you give me just a second, I'll go ahead and pull it up over here. This is, there it is. Not the page you should see. We'll go over here. So this is the beginning of the online library. We still have full resources available in Gainesville and in Bradenton, but we're kind of creating a hybrid collection here as well. Right now, we are still short a few hundred items, so it's not a full database, it's not a full library, but we're getting there. We're really close. I'll just run through this real quick to show you any kind of, let's just look at what Gainesville has in their collection. So if we simply tell the software, show me all the books in Gainesville's collection right now, there's 1,300 of them. You can see down the right-hand side, let me blow that up. You can see down the right-hand side, there are lots of different filtering options. Perhaps you want to read it in English or Russian or Chinese or whatever. Not too much Russian, but there are different genres. There's different formats. If you're looking for something specific, like an old audio tape, maybe we have it. In that case, it'd probably be better to reach out to Daniel. But let's suppose we are looking for contemporary gynecology, an integrated Chinese Western approach. For whatever reason, that's our topic. We can go in and find out specifics about this book. It's a 13-year-old paperback, not a particularly enticing cover, but we have lots of information about it, including ISBNs. If you wanted to do other research about this particular topic, you can plug in this ISBN into a Google or a search engine, oftentimes and find other sources that reference this. So if you're doing a research paper, that's a great tool to have. These descriptions and pages and the metadata that has to do with this book is actually pulled a lot from Amazon. It's tied into the back end. It's also tied into the Library of Congress and several other sources so that we can get you the most accurate information about this particular topic or about this particular title. Sometimes, depending on the book, you may find different subjects. This one in particular is a bad example because it doesn't have any subjects listed, but if we were to look for maybe a different one here, the Turtle Tale and Other Tender Mercies, we would find we have medicine, Chinese medicine, and pediatrics in our subjects. So if we're specifically looking for a pediatrics book, way back when we started our search here, we could simply type in pediatrics and it would pull up a list of titles that we have in our collection that are available for you to check out. Now, for the distance education specifically, you would have to go through the checkout process. This would require having your student ID handy. You simply plug in your information. Well, real quickly, I don't have a student ID to try, but you would plug in your information here, sign in, and then simply check it out. At that time, depending on when you do it, if you're doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning, it'll probably happen the next day. But Daniel will get the information. He'll see that someone in Vero Beach has requested this book, and he'll go pull it, pack it, and get it sent to you. If you're on campus, the idea would be to place a hold on that book. Daniel would then receive that information, go pull that book, and have it waiting for you at the front desk so that just to make it more efficient in the process. So you're not trying to track down the book yourself, perhaps using call numbers or whatever. Daniel's a whole lot more familiar with the resources that are available on ground. And so this way it's just a time saver and it helps you. There's also a ask a question. If you have a question in particular about this book, drop Daniel an email. Hey, does this book can have anything to do with type 1 diabetes, the pediatrics and Chinese medicine? Does it have anything to do with juvenile diabetes? Maybe he'll know, maybe he won't, but he can probably do some research and find out for you, which is not the same as let's ask Daniel to do our research paper. That's not what that tool is intended for. But it's a resource that's available to you to find, again, just a number of topics that clearly they're Chinese medicine or at least medicine oriented. There's a lot of Westerns that are incorporated as well. The Bradenton collection is growing. It's growing. It's a process and it's going to take a little time, but the Bradenton collection probably, well, it won't have as much variety right now. In time, it will grow, and then you'll see that this tiny cat, we call it Tiny Cat, this Tiny Cat library will grow as well, and your information access will improve over time. So this is a really close to finished project, not quite ready to throw the doors open and say, come on in and use it, but really, really close. It definitely will be by the semester, should be within the next week or two. So just know that this is here, know this is coming, specifically for you distant educations, but it can also be used for the Gainesville and the Bradenton campuses as well.
Thank you, Travis.
Sure. If there's no questions, I'll cut out.
And the Bradenton collection is also great because we were lucky to receive a donation from a former acupuncturist who had their own clinic and everything. So those books are now at Bradenton, so they have a good solid base as well. Yes.
Also, this Thursday, books from Dr. Hammer, Leon Hammer's personal collection will be delivered to Bradenton. I boxed them all up last week at Dr. Hammer's apartment and with his wife, Eva Hammer, and they're donating a lot of books and they'll all go to Bradenton.
That's awesome.
Well, if we wanted something that was in Bradenton, would they ship it up? Yeah, okay, sure.
And who's gonna be doing the shipping, Jody?
No, we'll figure that out.
Oh, okay. Oh. So I guess, I guess I should ask, does anybody have any questions?
Daniel, before you go, make sure they all have your email address. Do you mind telling them what that is?
I don't remember it. That's
Library.
I have it written in the library and on the bulletin.
It's just library@dragonrises.edu.
Library, right.
Well, that is actually a good point since you're gonna be emailing. That's true. So that email address is on the bulletin board in the lounge and also at the library, just when you walk in right behind the corner, behind the door.
But you have a lot of distance so you want to let them know.
Oh, that's right, and they should see it. And let me bring that.
I got it, Daniel.
I think we got it. It's just library@dragonrises.edu.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
Okay.
Thank you, Daniel.
Well, I hope to see you in the library.
So that was library@dragonrises.edu for any questions with library materials or requests for help for any resources, anything like that. I did want to mention really quick, tcmstudy.net. That is a wonderful resource for you. That is Nicholas Duchnowski. I'm not sure if I pronounced his last name correctly. He has made a lot of material for acupuncture points and herbs that is very easy to follow along and help make sense with things in your head as you're learning it. So I would suggest going to him. He's got a bunch of YouTube videos, a bunch of free acupuncture and herb stuff. There's also a paid herb thing, but he's got a lot of free stuff to it this time. And we actually have a lifetime subscription for the paid herb section, but you're not ready for that yet because that's not necessarily a board review study, but it is all encompassed of a lot of stuff. So you got to know what you're talking about before you go to that section of it. But prior to that, he goes with each herb category or each meridian, like the lung meridian or, cool acrid release exterior herbs. And he goes through them individually or goes through the points and lets you know about the points and the stuff like that. So great resource. I definitely highly recommend that. And I think that's it, Karen. If
is that the end of the agenda?
It is.
Question
All right.
and answer.
Yeah, so any questions about anything whatsoever? We have Sam has a question.
I had two that I wrote down. The one is for the distance people that are supposed to come to the campus. I'd first been told that we had to be here for the weekend, but then in the email it said Friday, so I just wanted to double check. We're here to
Yes,
Gainesville.
that will change. That will be dependent upon per semester of how many courses
Yeah.
require the hands-on portion. For this first semester, the only course that requires it is the Meridians course. And so that's scheduled for 4 hours on a Friday,
Okay.
roughly once a month.
Thank you. I just wanted to double check so I can get the flights and stuff.
Yep.
And
Now,
then,
next semester, depending upon how many courses it is that needs it, it may be an all-day thing, it may be a 2-day thing.
and then
good.
Yeah. So as Pulse gets included in, as the face diagnostic class gets
The
incorporated in AT&T, all of that's going to grow that hands-on requirement. So yeah.
And then my other question too was, I saw in the most recent email we got, there were 2 schedules, one for Gainesville and one for Bradenton. For the online kids, which schedule is ours?
The distance education follows the Gainesville.
Okay.
You're based out of the Gainesville campus. And all hands-on requirements will be done at the Gainesville campus.
For distance.
For distance education, yeah. Any more questions? Yeah.
I may have missed this, but the Zoom links for each class, is that gonna be under the Populi or the courses each day?
That's a Travis question.
Yeah, and I know Travis was going to, during lunch today, speak with the distance education students that were on here. And I guess in person, are they to stay in the room, and Travis will speak with them as well?
Do that right after you finish.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't hear the question though. What was it?
It was about the links for the Zoom for the.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll go over that.
Okay,
I believe Warren also had a question here.
go ahead, Warren.
You actually answered it, Christina. I was just gonna ask where we have to report to. When we go to Bradenton or Gainesville. You answered the question.
Gotcha.
At this time, it will be based strictly out of the Gainesville campus location. Possibly in the future, we could offer it at either campus, but right now it's strictly Gainesville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question, like, so obviously we have exams and quizzes and all that, but what other coursework is gonna be required outside of class? Like, is it mostly just studying for the exams, or is it like, okay, you're also writing X amount of research papers?
There's papers, there's projects, it depends upon the course. Yeah, there's a face presentation, PowerPoint that you have to put together. There's several different projects and things like that.
Do you know, like, around outside of study hours, what that looks like hour wise outside of class?
It's typically, the rule of thumb is 1 hour of class time is 1 hour of study time. Some classes are honestly more difficult than others, especially some people, one thing is more difficult than another. So then you would probably count 2 hours per outside class per 1 hour in class.
And is most of this could be a really silly question, so it is, but is it, have a really hard semester and then a little bit easier semester where you're kind of catching up, or is it just like goes to the face
Everything
the
in
whole
this program is progressive.
time? Okay.
So first semester often for people is one of the hardest because they have no background at all in maybe Chinese medicine or even holistic medicine. For example, in my case, I came from the business world like Diane did. So for me, even anatomy and physiology freaked me out, and medical terminology.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Sometimes the first semester is the hardest because you're learning all this new stuff. What we always tell everyone is to be patient, study, be ready, be patient, because it grows. And you're not gonna only hear something one time, you're gonna hear it many times throughout the program, and it's gonna grow on itself.
Great, okay, yeah, I think that was my bigger question, is it gonna grow and we're gonna keep hearing it and keep, or is it
Yes.
gonna be like all new things every single time, you're just kind of like.
Oh, no, it grows, this semester, first semester is foundation.
Right.
So you're building a house or building, we're getting foundational stuff, but you're gonna keep getting that as you keep going.
Great, okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, I definitely say take the time early on to not just try to pass the quizzes and exams, but actually put to memory the materials that you're learning, because like Dr. Martin Brown stated, it all just keeps compiling on, and you've got to have a good base or you're going to struggle later on.
Right, okay.
So as much as you can commit to memory first semester, I say the whole first year, because the whole first year is foundational stuff. I would definitely try it.
Thank you.
It's just going to benefit you in the future.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And let me mention real quick, that goes back to Christina talking about her classmate who kept watching Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. If you're doing that when you're in distance education, that's gonna be easy to do too. You're gonna get text messages, you're gonna get emails, you're gonna get distracted. But that's when you lose track. That's when you lose your progress. When you get distracted with something else, the teacher's not gonna repeat because you weren't listening, right? And you're not gonna be allowed to say, hey, I was distracted for 15 minutes, can you go back?
Yeah.
So just be very cognizant of that. That being said, Travis, I believe, does have recordings of every class that he keeps for short periods of time. Right, Travis?
That is correct. That is correct.
So if you have to re-listen to something, or if you're out sick and you miss that class, there is an opportunity to hear it.
And I would iterate too, that the class is 50 minutes long and you get a 10-minute break every hour. So you get that distance education as well. You get that 10-minute break. You can get up, move around, get a snack, get some sunshine to wake yourself back up, things like that.
Check Twitter,
So,
check Facebook,
yeah.
check your text messages.
Yeah.
So even if it's a 3-hour class, every 50 minutes we stop for 10
Yes.
minutes
Yes.
and then go back to the same class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if not, then you're
Right.
just like today, we're going on 2 hours now. So roughly every 50 minutes, it's not exact 50 minutes, but you get a 10-minute break every hour. We'll just say it that way. So every now and then, if there's an exam, the teacher may say, hey, or the professor may say, hey, let's power through this. And then you get to leave 30 minutes early or something. So, but it's a discussion amongst everyone. So it's but just roughly 10-minute break every hour. Did you have another question, Haley? No? Okay. Okay.
Do we have a date approximately about when the back order books will be in?
Some of them will be in today.
Oh.
We have the Foundations book is coming today, the Qigong book is coming today. So when you come into the class tomorrow, or if you're distance ed, if you'll just contact Jody.
Okay.
Jody is the admin assist at dragonrises.edu. She's the one who receives all the books and then lets you know when they come in.
I can send out an email later with everybody's email addresses also, as far as the administrative staff. That way you guys can have it and keep it on hand.
Quick question, Christina, we spoke about this, but I just wanted to double check because I start in Bradenton tomorrow, but I came on a little bit later. With like my textbooks and stuff, did I need to worry about that, or how does?
So her textbooks have not been ordered yet, is her question.
I actually ordered, Lindsay, your textbooks for the 2 people that were not yet fully enrolled.
So that would
I
be
ordered
foreign.
them last Thursday.
Okay.
May not be in yet, but they will be this week.
No, that's incredible. I just didn't know. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So we can always make sure that they get whatever reading material they need to.
Right.
We'll do, yeah, I'll just take like extra notes, I guess, until they get in, or.
Yeah.
I do have
I see questions. Who was first?
Well, I was just gonna ask the same question.
Okay.
If I need to worry about ordering textbooks or anything.
No, all the textbooks for Bradenton have been ordered and are being delivered today. Some of them are already there, and the rest of them that came into the Gainesville campus are being delivered today to Bradenton. So you should have a stack of textbooks tomorrow, if you're in person, that you'll need to collect from Dr. Kramer, the academic dean.
Okay, perfect. And is it the same for the scrubs? I mean, I already ordered them, but will we get them tomorrow?
No.
You will not get them tomorrow. There was such a large order and it was 3 separate orders. They have not been completed yet. So as they come in and get finished, they will be sent down to Bradenton, or they will be mailed out to whoever they need to be mailed out to.
They custom embroider the logo on our scrubs.
Yeah.
So that takes a little extra time as well. So for those people in person in Bradenton, I come down to Bradenton once a week, every week. I'm there Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So when I come on Mondays, I drive down on Mondays, I bring with me whatever I need to bring for the week for the students there.
But you will not be there this week, though.
I won't be there this week due to this pending hurricane, but I will be there starting next week.
There's a hurricane this week?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Warren, I believe you had a question.
I was gonna ask you a question. I guess I can ask those. So I'm distanced now, but if anything changed and I wanted to, like, I guess, be ground, how was that something I could do like in mid-semester, or does I have to finish? How will that work?
So if you want to transfer, we're hoping that a lot of the folks that can transfer from distance education to in-person do so. Because it's so much, you get so much more, in my opinion, in the classroom environment than in distance education. But yes, you have to wait till the end of a semester. So you'll finish out the semester as a distance education student. You'll let us know that you want to transfer to the in-person campus, and we can work all that out. It's not a difficult transition at all. The one thing you can't do is you can't go back and forth and back and forth. So that's not a college thing, that is a accreditor requirement. The accreditor only allows you to switch one time. So you can go from distance to in-person or in-person to distance one time. In the 10 semesters, they don't allow us to go part-time in distance and part-time in person.
Okay, so you got to make sure you're ready to do it when you do it.
Yeah.
And Warren, make sure that we talk this afternoon, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Haley, you had a question.
Yes, will I be getting my books today as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one more
Okay.
question, just to double check, the email said, Western terminology will be held the first half of the semester, and then Chinese terminology will be the second half,
Correct.
and intro to contemporary is only 8 weeks.
Sorry?
Intro to contemporary medicine is only 8 weeks.
Correct.
Okay.
So there's three courses that are not full semester. The CDM 101 is an introduction to what is contemporary oriental medicine. And that's a half a semester. And it's a non-credit course. So it's a semester, it's a course that Dr. Hammer himself worked with me and another teacher to create this introductory course on what is there's the Western medical terminology class that's in the mornings for Gainesville is only for 7.5 weeks. In the 8th week, you'll take your final exam for the first hour. And then the second hour, your Chinese teacher will come in who teaches our Chinese herbal terminology, and she'll do an intro and go over the syllabus. And then you'll have 7 weeks of Chinese herbal terminology. Dr. Alvarez?
The switch between those classes, the one is in the morning and the other one's gonna start in the afternoon. So
Yes.
It's not gonna be in the same hour.
So pay attention to your schedule, because Western medical terminology morning only. And then when it's over, you won't attend that time frame. You'll go only in the afternoon.
That afternoon,
4 to
you're logging
6.
into that 1 hour of the other one.
Any other questions?
In distance, it'll be kind of laid out on there. Like when you're logging in, it kind of has the classes that you're able to select or to see. It's basically just gonna have the one that you're going to be in will be up there. Right?
So
Like
distance ed is the same schedule as Gainesville.
Yeah.
So if you got the Gainesville schedule, then it's the same schedule.
Yeah, that's what.
But Travis will talk about in a moment, for those people who are distance only, you'll stay in the room for another couple minutes, and he's gonna talk about the links. There's gonna be links for each class.
Any other questions?
Tomorrow we start at 10 at the Bradenton location. Is that correct?
I think it's a Meridians class first, is that right?
Yes, it's Meridians.
Yeah, so it starts at 10 a.m.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then in Gainesville, we start at 9.
I don't know what the schedule is off
I
the
don't
top
have
of
the
my head.
Gainesville schedule in front of me. Do you know what classes starts in the morning?
They're not up.
Oh, it's 9 a.m. Yeah, it's the CDM 101 course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it
Okay.
be in this classroom?
Yes,
Yes.
this is your first year. For those students who are in person, this is your first year class for the whole year.
Okay.
And you switch classes fall of each year.
Okay.
So let me explain that a little bit. We have 4 classrooms here. And in the fall is so far it's the only time when we run 4 semesters, 4 cohorts. Students that were here for a whole year, the new students from last year, just moved to that room and the other ones moved to the other one. And the graduating class got bumped to the end of the hallway. So you're gonna be here the whole year. And in this room, and every one of your classes is gonna be here. We're gonna have the same Zoom setup for the distance education. And I highly recommend that you get like a PDF or a schedule and keep that really handy on your desktop or something. So you can always see what's coming up next. And then Travis is gonna explain how you're gonna get the Zoom links. And also pretty quickly, you're gonna be on the Dragon email and we're gonna be using only that for communication. Right now, because we don't have everybody on the Dragon Rises email, we're probably gonna use both until we know that everybody can see that, but that's gonna be the main way we communicate. Are we done here, Christina? So
I
then
am
Travis
done.
can take over?
I am done.
And Travis, you'll make it quick because we have lunch here waiting for these folks here. Sorry, I don't have lunch for you all in Bradenton.
Oh, I thought you guys were going to lunch and we were just having a DE, a cool kid club, but that's okay. We'll just do it all together. Let me see. Right. So a few just real quick for distance education. The requirements, obviously you're going to need a computer with internet. We all have Zoom. We know how that works. As Dr. Alvarez just alluded to, you need to have your Dragon Rises email up, functional, and know how to access it. If you, for whatever reason, are unable to log in or you haven't received the login emails that kind of walks you through how to set it up, let me know. Again, that email address for me is just it@dragonrises.edu. Definitely send me an email because we need to get that set up and running pretty quickly. Once we get that set up, then everything else can kind of work. We need to make sure that you've got Populi access. So if you haven't received an email yet with information on how to log into Populi, your username, your password, the login link, that kind of thing, definitely let me know. And make sure you can log into office.com, which is the Microsoft Office online suite. All of those things you should have gotten emails for, kind of walking you through the process. So please check and double check that. As far as support, it's me. I'm here to help you as much as I possibly can. That said, there are some limitations, which is to say primarily desktops and laptops are the preferred tool. If you decide to put this, if you decide to use Zoom on your phone or your tablet and start running into issues, I'm going to suggest you get in contact with Zoom as far as support. We can definitely try a few obvious things to see if we can get it sorted out. I'm not just going to leave you hanging, but at some point there's just too many phones, too many manufacturers, too many models to try to be able to support all of them and know exactly go here, click that, do this, do that, because there's an infinite number of possibilities there. And I have a little peanut brain and it can't store all that. As far as links for classes, you'll get an email this afternoon that will have a document that I would suggest you print just to keep handy. You can also open it, of course, in Word, and it'll have live links in it, but it'll have a spelled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's your classes with the shortened link that when it comes class time, you pull up your Zoom, or excuse me, you pull up the schedule, you click on it, and it'll process and begin opening Zoom. You'll get that this afternoon. I just want to double check before they make sure they're all functional before I send it to you. It should be there. It's 1 o'clock now. It should definitely be there by 3 or 4 at the latest. Beyond that, how to get in touch. If you have issues, pretty good with tech, can probably help you with, computers outside of Dragon Rises stuff. All of a sudden something popped up. That said, I'm not a full-scale IT shop, so kind of limited on resources with that one. If you need to get in touch, once again, it@dragonrises.edu, or you're welcome to text me. My phone number will be on every syllabus that you get in every class. So you're welcome to shoot me a text if for some reason your email isn't working and you can't send an email to it@dragonrises. Shoot me a text and we'll get you sorted out as quickly as we possibly can. And the last thing, is all of our sessions will be recorded. So if you happen to miss a class for whatever reason, excused, non-excused, that's between you and your instructor. But if you happen to miss a class, all the recordings, all the class sessions will be recorded and then stored. I'm going to put them on YouTube because we have fairly unlimited storage there for now. It's also easier for you guys to access. Most of the time I can get that put up there within 24 to 36 hours after the end of the class, with a little bit of flexibility because sometimes it just doesn't work the way. There is a big spreadsheet that will have a list of week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 across the top and all your classes down to the left. And it's just, okay, I missed this class on this date. There's the link. You can pull it up. It'll take you straight to the YouTube video and you'll be able to view that. Again, all this information I'm just kind of zipping through real quick is on all of your syllabuses. All of your DE syllabuses have it specifically spelled out with links and shows you exactly what you'll be needing. That's the very quick version. Questions, thoughts, ideas?
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. And for those of you who are here on Zoom for Bradenton or otherwise, thank you for attending. Please reach out if you need any help with anything. We, as we've said many times, are all available at your disposal. We check email very frequently and phone calls, of course, and in person as well. So if you have any questions that we haven't answered and something comes up later, please feel free to email one of us. And thank you. We'll see you all tomorrow.